Great, Connor, we're gonna get started. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August 13th, 2025 Water Board meeting. It is now 9:08 a.m. My name is William Sunderland. I'm the Vice Chair of the Buffalo Water Board, and we're going to get the meeting started. As in all these meetings, they are in a hybrid format, so there are people that are in attendance and online through the Teams network. So I'm going to turn this over to Connor to go through some housekeeping issues. But as item 3 we have on here, which is the public comment period. If there is anybody either in person or online, and if you would like to speak for a few minutes on any topic on there, you can either raise your hand in the chat or come off mute and we will acknowledge you and you can speak your mind. So Connor, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunderland. This is Connor Banny with GHD. I'd like to wish a warm welcome to everybody joining us for today's August Water Board meeting. As a reminder, this meeting will be recorded. Start things off, I'd like to introduce a couple of housekeeping measures. For those present here in the mayor's conference room, we kindly ask you to speak clearly and project your voice so the microphones around the room pick you up for those listening on Teams today. And to reduce the amount of background noise, we kindly ask you to stay muted on Teams until you're ready to speak. At the time you're ready to speak, please state your name and affiliation for the record. At this time, I'll begin taking the roll call, starting with the board members. After I say your name, please say here or present. I'd like to start with Bill Sunderland.
Here.
Debbie Lombardo.
Here.
Scott Billman.
Here.
Bill Hanley.
Here.
And Tim Donovan.
Here.
Thank you, board. I'll move on to our regular attendees, starting with Peter Berlow,
Present.
Jack McMahon,
Here.
Salat Air, Charlie Martirano,
Present.
Damon Sykes,
Present.
David Hill,
Present.
Kelly Lee,
Present.
Bodie,
Present.
Stephen Waldvogel,
Here.
Justin Steiner,
Present.
Matthew Addo,
Present.
Christine Wingo,
Present.
Mike Wolas,
Present.
Nolan Skipper,
Present.
Zach Cox.
Here.
David Connor,
Present.
Carol Burns,
Present.
I'll move on to anybody who I didn't call at City Hall. Is there anybody in the room? I missed?
John Rossi, Building Inspector.
Thank you.
Bill Ferguson's here.
Bill Ferguson. Anybody else on Teams that I missed?
Damon Rand, Veolia.
Thank you, Damon. I think we should be all good, so I'll pass it back to Mr. Sunderland for the rest of the meeting today.
All right, thank you, Connor. All right, board, before you have an agenda. Please review the agenda and for any additions, subtractions. We do have one that we're item 13, which will be executive session, which we will conduct after the regular meeting for the board members. So please look at the agenda as to content. And if it's okay, we can have a motion and second to approve this.
I'm going to make the motion to Building second.
All right, it's been properly moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Donovan, aye.
Hanley, aye.
Sunderland, aye. Thank you. All right, we're going to move to item number 2, approval of the minutes from the meeting July 9th, 2025. As previously distributed, please look at the meeting minutes. If there's any corrections that need to be made on there, please make them known. If not, then we can have a motion and second to approve the meeting minutes.
Dylan will make the motion to approve the minutes.
Lombardo, second.
Been properly moved and second. I heard no other comments on here. All in favor?
Lombardo, I.
Handley, aye.
Sunderland, aye. All right, thank you. It's been properly. All right, we're going to move on to, item number 3, the public comment period. So if there is any member of the public, either in attendance or online, this is an opportunity to, speak on any subject, regarding water board affairs. So if you are, please come off mute, raise your hand in the chat, and we will acknowledge you. Okay, hearing none. We're going to move on to item number 4, the staffing update. Mr. Hill?
Yes, thank you. David Hill,
Good.
Veolia Water. Project manager. Last week, Mr. Skipper and I met with Peter Merlot. Unfortunately, Mr. Skipper didn't have the entire staff there, but we do know there's movement, definitely one pumping operator position, 2 MAWs, 4 caulkers. I believe 2 or 3 meter readers. This is my last, but I would need to circle back with Kellyanne if she's back in the office and confirm those counts.
What's the total number? I feel.
It's about, I got a number, it's just. It's not. I think it was 98.
Don't worry about it right now. Get back to me.
I need to true up with Kellyanne. Okay.
That's it. All right, we're gonna move on to item number 5, the Colonel Ward Electric Upgrade Time Extension. Mr. Morello?
Thank you, Bill. Pete Merlo, Principal Engineer, Department of Public Works, Secretary to the Buffalo Board of Boards. This project is the electrical upgrade to the Colonel Ward Treatment Plant. It's kind of putting all the and finalizing all the loose ends electrically in terms of new power feeds to our pumps. This is the last portion of the project. We're almost complete. We are rehabbing the electrical feeds and the relays to the 3 hard service pumps. Pump 3 has been completed. Pump 2 is also just about completed. We need to do pump 1 next. The reason for the delay is something that was at a request of Buffalo Water. This project is an electrical upgrade to the pump controls. We are working with our limit accounts and working with Mike Carson and Veolia directly to also maintain and upgrade the motors. So we're doing that first. So the motors are being cleaned, basically restored to like new condition. And now that is a complete rehab on that asset, both electrically, and it makes sense to do the rehab in tandem with the rehab to electrical. So we asked them to phase that work accordingly. That work should be completed in, late September, early October. So we're just asking for an October 31st completion date, which should wrap this project up. The reason this date is critical, because we're going to be bidding, once we complete the bond sale, the electrical upgrades to the Massett Pump Station, the Peace Bridge, which is a $35 million electrical upgrade, transformers, all electrical feeds. When that happens, that pump station will be at diminished capacity. We only have about 70% capacity at that plant, so we'll not be able to meet all the demands of the city. So Colonel Ward becomes critical during that period. That the electrical really finalizes the limiting factor there with all the other projects. So now with our backup power, with our current feeds, and Dave, we're working directly with Mike Carson on that project. That Colonel Ward will be ready to go to allow that project to happen and let me sleep at night.
You sleep.
I tried. Any questions, board? This is really working with GHG. We have time in the inspection budget, so this is truly just a time extension to the contract to October 31st, 2025.
So it's an extension only, no.
Exactly. Not always coming to you for money. I try not to when I can.
All right, is there a motion to approve the no cost time extension for Friday Electric Company to October 31st, 2025.
Bill will make the motion.
Emily second.
It's been properly moved in second. Hearing no other questions. All in favor?
Bill and I.
Aye.
Lombardo, I.
Bundle and I. Thank you. On board, we're going to skip over items 5 and 6 for just a couple of minutes. I'm sorry. 6 and 7. We're gonna skip over that, waiting for Brian Jewell to show up. We're gonna go down to actually, item number 8, the Kensington Sculpture Project. Charlie, do you wanna lead this one?
Sure, thank you. Excuse me. The board has been approached by Wajid, pardon me, LLC. There were prior meetings where they presented their plan to put decorative artwork in the form of large chairs at the Kensington Brighter Tower property. And there's a document that you have before you, which is a proposed resolution to allow access and use of the property. It doesn't encompass all of the land, but the land is owned by the Buffalo Water Board, not the city of Buffalo. So the water board is being asked to give its approval. There is an agreement that we learned about that the city of Buffalo, through its Department of Police, entered into with Call True Inc., which is connected with Wajid, from what I understand. And the Common Council previously gave approval to the police department to enter into this. And this is in essence the funding for the artwork project that goes into it. The agreement does not include a lot of detail with regard to what the project will be, other than the attachments to it. But the attachments pretty much demonstrate what the project will be. So if you are interested to it, there are a circle area to the east of what would be the Kensington Tower, and on, again, what is currently vacant land. And there would be in the form of a large clock on the ground with 12 seats that would be spaced almost as if it was a clock. And that is the art. So there are various depictions of what that would be. So in essence, the request is for the water board to grant permission to let them install this artwork there. And we have not worked out the details of that particular agreement. And so the way the resolution is set up, it would be authorizing essentially the chair, the vice chair of the water board, and the city commissioner of public works who work or their designated representative to work with us and Wajid and to develop a satisfactory agreement that obviously protects the Buffalo Water Board and along with it, the city of Buffalo. The agreement that the city has worked out largely says there will be a project. It'll be funded through this exterior source. And we want all this insurance. There are various insurance coverages that are there, which are fine. We would negotiate specifically provisions that would allow for the use of the property, the installation, have insurance indemnification provisions to protect the Buffalo Water Board, the Water Finance Authority. Even though the authority is not a party to the agreement, it is always connected, if you will, to the Buffalo Water Board by way of its financing, and we never want suits to be brought against it separately without some protection. And the agreement itself, I have a good working draft of it. Basically, the questions become, what happens if they don't finish the work along the way? What are the rights of the parties? And the way the agreement is drafted at the moment, they are not a tenant. They don't have tenant rights. They basically are there at your will. They have permission to be there, but if, for example, they don't finish the project, then the water board would have to decide what it wants to do with the ongoing build out of that project. The second part would be If there is damage to the installation that is there, whose responsibility it is? Under the current draft of the agreement, that would be Wajid's responsibility to come in and take care of it. And they indicate that it is vandal proof. Seeing is believing. And so we certainly want to give them the benefit of the doubt and work with them. And there are other issues like that that still need to be worked out. But the assumption here is that the board would rely on the chair, the vice chair, and the commissioner or somebody among them to work out these particular details. And if you want, they could come back and report to you and identify the final form of the agreement. We just don't have it ready at this moment, and we need to work that out.
So Charlie, they've presented, this group presented before the board. They're on a tight timeline also. They're trying to get the concrete footers or forms done this fall. And then have them start working on the sculptures over the winter time with probably a spring or summer installation. So this resolution is basically the board approving the project contingent upon all of those other
Correct.
matters that.
Working out the agreement. That's right. And Bill, to your point, we certainly want to work with them and accommodate them. The question will be, how responsive are they going to be to our proposals? It's conceivable that we could get this done before your next board meeting and have an agreement ready that they could start working in September. If we have to go back and forth with negotiations, then that obviously will delay it. I'm not trying to put unfair burden on them, but we want to be sure that the water board is protected. There is one other significant issue I just want to review with the board. Do you have anything else, or?
No, it's just that, I guess, can we do a board resolution, vote on a board resolution to proceed with the project if the board is comfortable with the project? I know personally, I've gone out to the site, I've looked at what they want to do out there, barring any interference with any of our utility and they're going to have to call all the utilities to make sure there's
For
nothing
sure.
in the way there. But if the board is okay with that pending insurances and all of the other things that you just talked about, can we give them approval so we don't have to wait for another board meeting to come and approve a final?
Right. This resolution not only directs and authorizes you as vice chair, chairman, and the commissioner of public works or their designate to negotiate the agreement, obviously on the best terms to protect the Buffalo Water Board, but also to execute and deliver the agreement. So if you are all satisfied, we've achieved the best that we can, then you go forward. You can sign the agreement. The judgment call, if you will be up to you before the next board meeting. Do I sign this, or do I come back to the board and say, this is where we are, I think we've achieved everything, or we have this issue or that issue? It becomes your call as to how to deal with that, but it's doable within the time frame that we have.
So we can approve this resolution as it is contingent upon the other things, or should we need to wait till we get the final? I guess that's,
You don't need to wait to get the final, but if you want that, that's what we do.
personal, I'm
I
just,
just prefer to see the final terms and conditions before execution.
Sure.
before execution. But does that mean that we don't give them approval to move forward to the next?
You'd in essence, I think, absent a special meeting, you would end up waiting, assuming we get it all done for September 10th. And the agreement would be presented to the water board, and if everybody accepts it, then bingo, you have go forward.
Board? What are your feelings?
We wanted to get the concrete in by the end of July, beginning of August. If we wait till September, they miss that opportunity.
Well, that's kind of where they would miss that opportunity anyways if they didn't, if we did this contingent upon all the insurances and everything else there. It's just, we're not waiting for a board approval to have them do it. That would be more of an internal approvals with Public Works and everything
Well,
else.
who's a concrete expert? I mean, if if you get an agreement September 10, couldn't they still pour concrete in September, October?
Yes,
That's what I thought.
Like shaking a separate.
Like. pork
Michael?
concrete
They can pour all year.
and-
Yeah, right.
That's what I understood. So it's all doable. You know, it just becomes more on their part, how well mobilized they are. Apparently they're funded and, you know, have they gotten bids already with regard to doing the concrete work? I don't know.
They had a list of pricing where it's costly. Yeah, pricing anyways, but maybe not bids.
Could be.
What's the funding source?
I'm sorry,
It's the Buffalo
Source
Police Grant.
to give grant,
but it's money coming from somewhere else.
to give grant.
Thank you.
So they don't complete. And the funding is still available. And somehow work in an ability for the completion to be,
The proposal that I would make here is that it would authorize the water board to step in and finish the project in accordance with the plans and specifications that are available. And in essence, ask Wajid to step aside. Just like you would maybe any other situation that you deal with like that. But again, Scott, it depends how far along it is, you know. If all you have is a concrete pad, well, maybe not. But that's a judgment call, obviously, that you would make at that point.
Any other comments from the board regarding preference to put this off until we have everything as a final contract, or I guess,
You can defer, excuse me, you can basically defer this to your next meeting. And in the meanwhile, rest assured that we will work on the specific terms of the agreement.
is there, and I'm fine with that. Is there a motion to table this until the September
Yeah,
10th meeting?
We'll firming it up.
Oh, yeah.
Bill, want to make a motion.
Okay, there's a motion to table this item. Is there a second?
Table the other.
Scott did. Bowman?
There is one point, but
Go ahead.
if you want to table, that's fine, but I just would like for clarity. There is no expectation, or is there an expectation rather stated, that you receive a fee from them to allow them to build on this property? It's your property. So we're not, currently contemplating rent. We're not currently contemplating any kind of consideration. On the flip side, they will be offering a product, something that will be presumably beneficial to the community. And according to the grant, I believe it's around $280,000, which is not insignificant. And so that would be there. They would agree to take care of it, maintain it over a period of time. You know, so if we've got graffiti, presumably the water board would say, get the graffiti off or whatever. If somebody comes along and damages any of the chairs in a significant way, you know, that you could ask them to fix and replace or whatever. So those are terms that would still be worked out. But in terms of, so you kind of look at it, well, we could charge them an X dollars, whatever, either upfront or on the way or not, and just say we're relying on the fact that they are spending $280,000 and an obligation to maintain this property over time. And the water board would be benefited, so to speak, with beautiful artwork instead of just a vacant lot.
Post installation. How does the
How does what? I'm sorry.
ownership?
We haven't worked that out. I don't know, is they're interested in retaining ownership? That would be, you know, something I was going to ask you. Is that something you want them to say, once it's completed, it's yours, meaning the water board? As a permanent grant, so to speak.
Right.
That would make sense.
Wouldn't that require
That-
the
right, but
water board to maintain that asset?
That would be the issue. Right.
That's gonna be an issue because then we become owners of it. We have to maintain it and take care of, excuse me, everything. you know, also too, on their grant, you have to find out if we are gonna charge them, is there money in that grant for us to do that? Because sometimes the grant only allocates for what you presented
Yep.
to that particular funder. If there is no money, extra money, it wasn't, you're right, budgeted, we can't do that. I don't like that idea.
I didn't see a line item on their grant or rent or whatever we want to call it.
That's what I'm saying. So we
Correct.
really technically cannot ask them that coming from the non-for-profit world and you're writing grants, you're only asking them for what you know you need and you're presenting them that amount of money. So now to ask them to give us something for a property that's really doing nothing. I'm not in agreement with that.
Understood. I wanted to be sure to raise the question. And it just becomes, if that's your choice, so be it.
Okay.
And
So,
Peter, we talked about this yesterday, the underground utilities. I mean, will that be requirement?
Well, the underground utilities are, you know, just so you know, there's what,
I'd say, I think from an engineering standpoint, just from our standpoint, there's two considerations. First is the underground assets. And what we did is I went out and Floyd actually went out physically and he delineated, they believe a 15-foot buffer from those 48 and 30.
48 feet.
6 feet. So we have a 15-foot, that would be what we would typically have to maintain that access. So that area is free from water access. Again, as Bill said, they still have to do their own UFPO utility markout. We're also concerned that the board, if they so choose to ever develop that property for an additional tank. Again, there's no plans on the books. That would be something that would be, you know, many, many years out, but I don't want this to not to ruin that right in case they so choose to use it for something that the community would deem, if you want to put another storage tank there, that would be a community benefit as well, and you wouldn't want to hurt the board's ability to do that. Those are the two considerations from a
Peter,
technical standpoint.
Peter, I think what Brian is saying, they are probably gonna add power to the site. Yeah, they're gonna bring more, they're gonna have to look at. So we don't well, we don't get any new underground utilities.
Well, I think there's poles in the area. They're just gonna have to, I don't know who's gonna oversee that.
well, there would have to be a coordination with the Commissioner of Public Works, so you designate,
Grid,
And-
fuel.
and basically to thread the needle and figure out where is the best place to put everything, how to deal with underground utilities, what to do. We've got 48-inch water mains under there. Again, this is not a little pipe. And so if that, for whatever reason burst, that's beyond your control. And that could literally, I don't want to be too dramatic, explode and blow everything up.
But it's a buffer for maintenance, not a buffer of protection for,
Okay,
I want people to understand what that is. They have a break there.
48.
What the type buffer it would,
yeah, that's right. It is a point of risk. There,
we need to access this pipe, do something, put a clamp on it, access a valve.
Right.
We would need this to get our equipment in their job to maintain that. Mike, is that about what typically you want at least 15 feet? So, because you have 15 feet on either side, yes, and we have a 30-foot basically.
so number one, the specific location would have to be in accordance with what we negotiate by the Commissioner of Public Works. Okay.
Yep.
Number two, the water board of the city is going to reserve rights as necessary to go in and maintain the underground waterways, utilities, and if necessary, cause the removal of the artwork above ground and figure out how to replace that down the road. So there are significant issues here that would still need to be worked out. Not impossible, could be done. And a lot, I think, has to be that the commissioner, the chair, the vice chair are going to have to be satisfied that you are protected and that you have retained maximum flexibility to do what you need to do. The primary concern is the ability to use the water tank.
all right, so we have a motion, and properly second to table this item. So the September 10th meeting, all in favor?
Bowman, aye.
And Lee, I.
Bartle,
Hold on.
Item has been tabled. We're gonna keep going down. Let's do the PAAA compliance, Charlie.
Sure. Okay, you should have. You should have the mission statement available to you together with evaluation form. Basically, the Public Authorities Accountability Act is a state law and You have one of these? I can give it here. Here.
Charlie, I got it.
Okay.
Sure that.
Thanks a lot.
Director printed copies? Yeah,
Here.
thanks.
Bill, do you need this? Okay. So the Public Authorities Accountability Act, state law that regulates entities such as the Buffalo Water Board. There are over 1,000 public authorities across the state of New York. Some are small, like the Buffalo Water Board. Some are big, like the New York State Thruway Authority. And they are all regulated, if you will, by this. And the State Authority Budget Office has provided a lot of guidance over the years. And one of them is to require an authority mission statement. Though you are called the Buffalo Water Board, you are still a public authority. There's just a distinction with the Buffalo Municipal Water Finance Authority. But there is the mission statement. I think it's worked well over time. And then the list of performance goals that we have established. And again, this is with guidance from the State Authorities Budget Office. And the question is basically, are you engaging in performance of the mission and the goals that have been set out over time? They're very basic about establishing and collecting water rates and charges that will satisfy the revenue requirements of the water system, establishing realistic budget, capital improvement plans that are current and predictive, future needs, and establishing best management practices in line with industry standards for other public water utilities of comparable size and age to the Buffalo water system. And these are intended to be realistic. Nobody is looking for unusual performance. Let's put it that way. And then there are some additional questions that come about on the second page dealing with acknowledging that you've read and understood the mission statement.
Yes.
Who has-
Have you got her? And Miss, she's here, right? Yes. I just came. It just came to my office. So.
Should we finish this? Okay. So on page 2 is who has the power to appoint the management of the public authority? And this is laid out basically that the mayor appoints, the common council approves, other than the chairman of the authority who is appointed by the mayor. The officers are elected by the board. Who appoints the management? And so again, you are consistent with the Buffalo Municipal Water Finance Authority Act and other applicable laws. And as I've explained in the past, we have the financing agreement that has been in effect since September 24, 1992. Briefly describe the role of the board and the role of management, and it's generally laid out here. Key item, I think, is that there's a lot of collaboration and cooperation working with not only your consultants, but also with the city of Buffalo and the Water Finance Authority to try to be in compliance with applicable laws. And that's really about it.
So they have a survey.
Well, that's a separate item, if you will, within the PAAA. I didn't want to rush it.
Can the mission statement be, adjusted a little bit?
It's up to you guys.
All right.
Trying to be, I think, as general as we can without being overly restrictive and confining to certain requirements or whatever, but that could certainly be added. And if you want to put this off to next month, that's okay too.
No, I mean, I'm assuming we can adjust the mission statement.
Sure.
So desire at yeah.
It is within the province of the water board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the board is okay with the mission statement as stated and the list of performance goals and achievements, I would request that you have a motion to, readopt, restocking.
Great board. You have in front of you, the public authority's mission statement and goals. Is there a motion to approve?
Make some motion to approve.
Gilman second.
Said.
We have a first and properly second. Hearing no other questions on it, all in favor?
Gilman, aye?
Lombardo, I.
Hadley, aye.
Sunderland, aye.
Gold eye.
Okay, then the other item that is associated with this is, the confidential annual evaluation by the water board. And this is not something you have to give me today. It's up to you. It's pretty straightforward. Again, this is something that the authority office has prescribed, and it is basically just checking the boxes. And with the reflects that if you okay, you can give me the document next time or when else. Yeah, give it. All right. So we don't ask you to put your name down or anything like that. And once we collect the evaluations, then we basically do a summary of them in a similar and submit that usually to Bill Ferguson, who can post that as part of the state publication system to the State Authority Budget Office. Again, this is really an accountability factor that the state just wants to know that you are doing your own internal reviews, separate from any exterior reviews that the state Authority's Budget Office would do.
Yes, hi, Bill Ferguson, that's correct. Those are usually filed when we file the annual budget in the spring, early summer after it's adopted. They always ask about the Paris compliance.
Is that Charlie?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. We're gonna skip board. We're gonna skip back up to item number 3, the public comment period. I see we have a couple members of the public here. So if you'd like to come forward, state your name and address and what you would like to speak about. Yeah, down here's fine.
My name is Barbara Johnson Kirk, and I'm accompanying my goddaughter, Mimi. She has a situation with the water. We were invited here by Mr. Mike to come and talk to the board. Tell your story. My name is Mamie Walker Knight, 30 Rollins, Buffalo, New York. I'm here because it seems like the city get all these programs that help the residents, us homeowners. We're told to apply for these programs. When they're made available, we apply. Certain ones do not put your application in. All of a sudden, whatever reason, oh, you're approved, then in the next breath, you're disqualified. My situation is at my residence, there was a leak. I was told to apply for the road program, which I did. The gentleman came out on June 25th. He did my application. I took a photo of it. He informed me that the company that was doing the work would be 2 to 3 weeks behind. But, and it would take 4 to 6 hours to complete. I said, okay. Then went around the July 1st, I called to inquire about, when the company was going to come out so I could prepare everything. I was told that I was disqualified, that my application was denied. Around July 6th, somewhere in there, I talked with Mr. Mike. He came out, he was explaining to me why my application was disqualified and informed me about different avenues to take. What he said was is when they looked through the history of my house, it comes that there was a situation from '09 that was happened at Colorado. They got reports that there was leaks or water was running in the water ducts at Colorado and Genesee. And when they went down, they traced it all the way back to my residence. Now, it's been back and forth, back and forth. The city says they sent me notification, never got nothing. My water bills was always paid. Okay. So that's the reason why I'm here. If everybody wanna know why this has been going on, there's two reasons. The first reason is miscommunication. Every time I called the plumber to come out, they were like, oh, although that happened at Colorado and Genesee, it had nothing to do with your residence. I'm like, okay. Then back in 2013, there was work done on our street where the Department of Public Works was doing patches, whatever. And I asked the gentleman, I said, excuse me, how can y'all tell if a leak is on the property? He said, well, we really can't tell, we just go by the sound. Now, I had someone come out last, like, around the, 10th from T Mark Plumbing, and he was like, yes, what it sounds like is your house is on the T. I said, I don't know what that means. He was like, where your house? Cause I live next to, two houses that was torn down. He said that, well, your house could have been, your line could have been connected to that line. And when they did the demolition, it affected your line. I said, okay. No, and then the other thing is, like I said, being misesteemed. Like I said, every time you try to apply for these programs, I applied at 780. We put in applications at 780 Fillmore, all over. Every time there's a funding for the city, we apply. Oh, yeah, you're approved. Your application is approved. Da, 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 da. Next thing you know, you're go to try to find out about it. Oh, you're disqualified. But yet, like I asked Mr. Mike, if this is considered the role program, why would you say replace old lead lines? Old to me means prior. And just so you know, I have found this that I was like, I don't know how, if it's gonna be loud enough. But there was a gentleman named Mr. Briggs, Biggie, who he was living off of rainwater for 4 years. Someone told him about the road program. A water authority official, same as me, told him about the program and he got assistance. Now his leak was back in 2015. I was told that the reason why I didn't get help was because my leak was prior. Now you take. And that should qualify every other way, except for the timeline of the old deadline heights. Mr. Mike said it's the timeline. She qualified in every other way except for that. However, we knew that she found the story of this gentleman who was living in his home. He was a veteran. And he had no water for like 4 years or whatever. Somehow he came across a water authority official who told him about the program and he was able to get the assistance. But mind you, it was prior to the date of 2019 that this old lead line, this road program came into existence. So we're here because we know that this gentleman got assistance. He has a disability and her daughter. She's been displaced out of her home ever since then, trying to get assistance, never was able to get it. So we were invited to come here and ask, would you all find it in your heart to make an exception for her? Not only that,
but also she discovered that there's some funds available that is in jeopardy of being sent back. Guess what? Because it's not being used. How can you use a program, and you keep getting denied for the program, but the funds are there and it's going back? It makes it look like the help is not needed on one hand, but then on the other hand, you're asking for help and
I have a few questions. Wanna
No, go ahead.
So are you currently living at this property?
I'm remodeling.
Okay, so it's my understanding that there has been no water meter at this property since 2009.
The water meter was put in on June 23rd of this year.
Right, so before June 23rd to 2009, there's been no water service to that property. Right, and it appears that there is no natural gas service to this property either, because there's no meters out there either.
everything is in a process.
Everything,
They
because
have
I had them. I was coming back and that's when I was getting all the utilities.
So, it was also noted that it looks like there's some sort of automobile dismantling going on over there. There's abandoned vehicles there, there's car trailers.
that is-
Truck,
all that-
and there's
all-
also some
not
housing
anymore.
court, there's some housing court inspection issues
Yes,
that,
there were concerning the cars, because people was coming, putting their cars on the lot. Like I said, I live next to 2 lots. So people come, they dump stuff, and I've been battling housing court over those issues. All that has been rectified. Everything, I got the gas, matter of fact, National Fuel just called me a little while ago to come and turn the gas on. Because I have always kept up with my property. I have always had a desire to come back home. Cause that is my, so.
When was the leak? And where was it?
All I know is,
Mystery.
when I first bought the home in '04 and was residing there up until 2011.
Mhm.
All I heard, it's like, how Niagara Falls is, you can hear the water running, but you don't see it. Okay, I had called plumbers to figure out, and then I was told that from different ones that plumbers, that they are saying that from National Grid and others, that there was a leak at Genesee and Colorado around that
Which
time.
is on the main street. And then
And that they traced, and that when they went in, they somehow or another traced it back to my residence.
So what I'm trying to figure out is the roll program is for lead service lines that go from the city's main to your house. So is the leak in that lateral? I mean, who identified it, why they pointed you to the roll program?
Morning. Yes, so back in 2009, there was water entering the Niagara Grid duct bank on Genesee Street near Colorado. During that time, the Buffalo Water Authority went and did a sweep of the area. I can't say if they were the only leak there was, but it was noted that we dug up and we terminated their water service to their property, which did indeed stop the flow of water to duct bank. They were notified. At that time, because they were abruptly turned off, we did a house to house for a period of time to provide them with water. They then had to engage a plumber. That has never taken place since. My meter shop got a call, or they reached out to the main office. Our meter shop went out, I think the end of July, or maybe the end of June. I don't have the exact dates.
Because you called for water service.
Correct.
You wanted to be a water service.
But because this was 10 years ago, the main office or dispatcher did not look far enough back to see that the water was already terminated. So when we went to put the meter in, no water came out. That's what spiraled into, why don't they have water, this and that. They were issued a application for the roll program. They were signed up for the roll program, but after further investigation, because this was a 10-year, well, actually 15 years now, 15-year-old issue, the parameters of the program were, we didn't go backwards prior to the program start date.
Yeah,
So
the big guy needs to be educated on roll a little bit, that, I mean, is the issue the lateral? And if it is the issue is the lateral, are we not replacing those at our cost?
I can help you guys out a lot quicker.
Please.
All right. I'm John Rossi, the building inspector. This is my case. It's been in court for over 9 years. The property's been vacant. We're going back to trial on September 18th, next month. And I'm asking for a demo. So I don't recommend you guys prove this at all. Because the house is not, I got pictures over all this time. The property's been vacated, the inside's destroyed. They did try to start doing work on the roof. They did work on that. It's not being maintained. It's a continuous problem. I've been trying to work with them. I gave them extra time. The guy that's working on the property with the cars, I do towing for the city. I'm a liaison to all the departments for the mayor's impact here for quality of life. So I'm well aware of all this.
And to me, this is separate.
Yeah.
This is separate compared to the water item.
Right, but I wouldn't want to see,
No, right.
I'd rather have you use that on a house that someone's
Right,
living there.
right. I'm just trying to get down on the parameters of the roll program. That's where I was going.
Yeah, well, I understand that's a whole different section.
Yeah.
I just don't want you guys being misled
Right.
that somehow they're taking care of the property, because I gave them more than enough time to do all this.
Mhm.
Talk to the contractors involved in everything. This is one of the guy who's doing the cars told me he's related to them because he's going in and out of the property. He actually at one time ran electrical out of there to do all this. I warned him that you're on city property. I'm letting you take the cars out. I got pictures, all this. I got another inspector on it. He's doing it again. So I told him last time, no more warnings. I'm just coming and taking everything. Now, I just got word this morning, there's only 1 or 2 cars left here, so he did remove them because he's aware of what's going on. Now, I've been in court probably 8 times on this. And I have pictures of the property not being maintained. I've been nice to them. They have relatives across the street with the child daycare, Christians. So I went out of my way and they're not complying. The house is a wreck. And it'd be simple for me to say, this is how simple this would be. Fix the house first, then we'll give you water.
Sure, that's what I was gonna say.
And
But you guys know I'm asking for a demo.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to,
On the
we
18th.
can't take action until that court.
Oh. yes, and Mr. Rossi, number one, he is correct. I have been in housing court. However, the gentleman that he's referring to, name is not on the deed. My name is on that deed solely. I'm the one that's making I'm the one that's getting the repairs done.
And have.
Or number two, for him to say as far as the inside, no one inspector has ever been in my house to see what has been done. So you cannot say what has been done, what hasn't been done. The only thing you can say is the outside, which every violation that is on there, I have addressed and fixed and still in the process of fixing.
May of 25 was the last court date.
Yes, and as of,
May of 25, I got the court
Thank you.
report.
So we need to move the board meeting along.
right,
Thank you for
so
presenting the
I
case.
thank y'all and,
Yeah.
have a blessed day. Oh,
Sorry. No, thank you for.
So what we'll have to do, man, is just see this process before we can then give water.
that's fine.
All right?
All right, thank you, Sean.
Oh, thank you so much. And, yeah.
And
Sure. And like I said, Mr. Wilson, you got me. I got everything from today. Thank you. Have a good day. Do the work.
She has got a contractor, and she put a lot of money inside. She has got walls torn down and.
we just gotta wait to see what the housing court rules, cause it's going for, it's gonna request that both. So we're gonna wait till that action is taken. If they don't, we
We're
can,
trying to like call to buy it, you saying no. Buy it.
Mhm.
The buyer. He said the court date was September 18th.
Yes.
So you guys are trying to say after that decision?
Yeah, so if that, if it allows her to continue working on the house and rehab it, then we would feel.
I think so. We're looking at both sides.
All right, thank you.
We just for the record, it's even report, when I did things for the judge, I said, okay, more time, however, even sleep, it's been going on for a year. So, because I deal with so many people across the city in these matters, I get tired of that. And they always want to come in and blame the city that we're not helping them. This has been a nightmare for years, and now they all of a sudden want something for nothing, and I don't appreciate that. But if you need anything for the record, I have all my pictures, all the times I've been at court, help you guys. Because I deal with so many older people, I'd rather have the money being used on someone that really needs it, that's living in the property already, keeping the property up, that I'm a military guy, so I just say how it is. That's a good citizen, maintaining the property. I've been telling them for years, just sell the property if you're not gonna take care of it. Now they're coming crying as if, you know, we're putting pressure on them to start working on the house, when I got a case that's 10 years old.
John, I have a question, please. Are you going back into that house before this court date to verify with?
Because I actually have an
Just
interior
asking.
order from the judge.
Right.
That's why what she said is not true.
I was just asking.
I tell everybody, she knows me, so I tell you, I tell everybody, if you're gonna lie, don't even talk to me, because I don't put up with it. I know you guys don't like hearing that, but I'm a military man, not a politician.
Thanks, John. Thank you. Is there any politicians? I just, the role program, I'm a little confused as to, if her. Yeah, she didn't even, I didn't, Bill, you knew background, even though she didn't have water service, but why is she directed if there's a leak and they don't know where the leak is to the role program? I guess I'm a little.
Her service was identified to have a leak.
Right, but
Brian,
there wasn't identified in lateral.
yes, it was.
It was.
In 2009, it was verified. She has a water service.
10 years before the program.
10 years before the program.
We have to replace them anyway.
No, well, this would be a new install. This will not be a replacement.
Right.
Right.
But the role program is specific to replace lead service lines, correct? Which is a mandate of the federal government.
Yeah, but we functioning lead lines. This has been a non-functioning lead line for 15 years.
Basically abandoned
But if,
lateral.
let's say that she didn't have this condition with the house. Let's say it was able to, occupy it again. Okay, what would we do with that lead line? If it was discovered and put in the inventory, what would we do with it? If the house was, if she could occupy that house and wasn't in the condition it's in going for demo. If she could occupy that house and water hasn't been on since 2009. Now she can occupy, now she can turn the water on, and we can, and that's a lead service line, and now it's identified as a lead service line. Do we replace that?
So if there's a vacant house for 15 years and we go there today to turn the water back on, we turn it on and all of a sudden water starts peeling out of the ground or anything like that, they would fall under the roll pro.
If it's leaking.
If it's leaking. This is not a leaking service. This was a terminated service.
It's a lead service line.
It's a terminated lead service line.
Is it a
Doesn't make
lead
sense.
service line?
The program is.
Hold on. It doesn't matter what the program is. We can make whatever rules you want. This is how, this is.
I mean, can
It's
someone
not
help me out with
functioning.
the federal mandate,
so I
the
can-
LCRI program?
I can try to give a little bit of more context and background. So there is no federal mandate right now. Okay, the compliance date is in November 2027. Right, okay, so it doesn't start till then. This is all private property as well, so the board has no legal obligation to replace. So the policy was started in conjunction with the local ordinance that prohibits the repair of a lead service line.
Policy came and then the ordinance. support the
Yes,
policy.
yeah. Okay, so, but it was hand in hand.
Jay,
It was hand in
to
hand.
impress her about the inventory and say you had federal money to replace those.
Yeah, so the board has spent its own money on all of these, with the exception of a grant from New York State back in 18 for like $600,000. And so the board has probably spent 20 million on these over the last 10 years and received almost no outside funding, unfortunately.
And for the board members, just an average lead line service replacement
13,000.
10, yeah, depending where the main is. If it's across the street, it's even more, but 10 to 12 to $15,000 per. So.
So you raise a good question though, and I think this type of scenario
It's good.
will become common. If it is the policy of the board to replace all lead service lines, you're looking at hundreds of millions of dollars. That was not really the policy that we're dealing with. It's a reactionary policy that if a active lead line is found leaking, the homeowner is not permitted to repair it. And so the board will replace it at no cost to the homeowner. That's how it's been utilized in the last 5-6 years.
And or if they.
Yeah, well, all right, so can someone then explain to me the water board's position when OJ was chair on the LCRI program? And how you're gonna meet those requirements of that program,
Yeah.
which is going to be federally mandated.
They
And it's
took,
going to cost a fortune.
they took no official position, I would say.
So was the chairman taking a position of his own? Cause I mean, it was on, it's, I dug into it, it'd be on record.
Is there a procedure in place for how long a line can be abandoned before you can reactivate a line?
Not that I know of.
So I guess where I'm going, this is getting into a bigger issue,
It's very big.
right?
Yeah.
So this is getting into what this water board has as its policy related to lead and copper rule program. That's,
The GHD was developed, plan to deal with this. I thought something, we're gonna make a recommendation on how to comply with now.
right, that's the biggest item.
That's something that you, Chairman, I don't know my incorrect either.
Yes, so there are a number of things here that, can be confusing. There is an obligation that the water board actually prepare a formal lead service line replacement plan. Okay, that is a regulatory requirement. That is due on November 1st, 2027.
Was the inventory submitted?
The inventory has been submitted. However, there are about 30,000 lines that are of unknown material. So there is still work happening on the inventory to identify materials. There are about 75,000 lines, 35,000 are unknown. Okay, of the known, there's about 30,000 lead lines in the system, just general statistics, okay? I would say, the estimate is north of 30,000 in terms of the replacements that would have to be done under the new regulation compliance starting in 2027. What the board has done is taken a water quality approach to lead service line replacements, okay? So there are replacements happening now. Anytime a water main is replaced, if there's a lead line attached, that lead service is replaced. That's a water quality argument because you're disturbing.
When a main.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the laterals are replaced if they're lead during a water main job. A second program is we test everybody who asks for a test. Any tap sampling across the whole city. If the tap sample comes back high, meaning higher than 5 parts per billion, even though the current rule is 15 parts per billion, the board instituted a much lower action level of 5 parts voluntarily. If that tests high 2 times in a row, they qualify for a new service line, okay? That has happened only a handful of times over the last 7 or 8 years, okay? Because our water quality is very good and we test very low for it. The last area is this roll program. Again, it's a water quality argument. If a lead line is found to be leaking, that is essentially a disturbance and the potential for lead exposure jumps.
That's never been qualified.
It's never been qualified, yes.
Can I ask, did roll get initiated when the LCRI came about?
Before the LCRI, well before the LCRI.
Right, so let's look at it this way.
That's probably where I'm.
Yeah, please, so you have a problem. City of Buffalo has a lot of lead lines. It's to be inventoried and this process is underway. It's painstaking, it's not easy to do, but we have a known. And there are easier ways to look for where the lead is. But when you have a break, there is a regulation in effect that does not allow anybody to repair a lead line. If a break occurs, it must be repaired. So then the question becomes, how is that going to be repaired and at whose expense? Under the current regulations, a private owner is responsible at his or her cost to replace that water line. The water board, and Mr. McFoy in particular, was a big proponent of encouraging people to get Home Serve or some other company out there. I'm not recommending any particular company.
Insurance.
Waterline insurance program for about $100 a year. It is a excellent protection. You can get, I think, up to $10,000 worth of value out of a replacement of the line. But there are people that do not have that. So number one, that's something for the board to consider about promoting that going forward. But for those people that do not have it, the board people have a quandary about what to do. You can't allow somebody not to have water. And so the plan has been to use the roll program to go in and yes, use board funds to do that. Number one, I believe there was a understanding that there were sufficient reserves. Number two, there was money that was promised through the American Rescue Plan or other federal funding and state funding that could accommodate that. And the money was there to be done. Is it there on a programmatic basis for the whole city? No, going forward. Bill Sunderland is, I think, or Stephen has pointed out how much that would cost going forward. So a policy and procedure needs to be developed going forward. So these folks can do their job
So
without being restrained.
like, it's because there's requirements, there's reporting. I mean, have the customers that we know the line material, have they been notified? So the knowns have been notified, the unknowns, so all those dates were.
They're fully compliant
We're
with the
compliant.
current rule, yes,
Right.
yeah.
We have a question.
You only to make sure, and you
Okay.
wanted to make sure we're very dependable, right? And they.
And I'm sorry for asking all these questions, I've been coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
No, Brian, I commend the question because the financial implications of this have
It's
really never been grappled with.
Can I share something with the board?
And
I did $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. This program was developed really for our water quality. And at the time I was involved in the beginning discussion when the board made these policies. And I insisted on having things to back up these policies because I was in the field administering these. I don't want someone pointing the finger at me saying, why are you giving a gift of public funds once I had the proper backup? And the resolutions, and that's where the regulations came to support these programs. But at the end of the day, I wanted to be about water quality analysis and it was. What I'm saying is, I'm very confident in our lead services, I'm very confident in our local policy, I'm very confident in our testing. Confident in our numbers, our water quality is excellent with the existing lead services. Also, what the board determined was they're confident that under steady state conditions with our given water quality, with our given protection, we're good. The board said if there was a chance, as minuscule as it be, would have another disturbance. And that's when the board started saying, okay, if it's disturbed, we'll do it retroactively, even though some of us wanted to say, hey, let's repair it and let's test. Let's do follow-up testing to see if those numbers come back down and let the numbers truly guide us. There was some support for that program, but that was blown up. AWW came out and basically said, we don't support this. You got to get rid of it, all that goes. So no one really wanted to hear about water quality. So it went from, it was a water quality basis decision, but it never had the number to say there was a true disturbance. We never knew what those services would come back. So a testing program would have allowed that. So I want to share that. That's the logic that got us here. However, that roll program is funded with reserves. You're going to talk about limit accounts later. We're watching that right now. Between your distribution breaks and your roll program, you may exhaust that budget that we have, which is significant this year. And you may have to make decisions or financially.
We're doing 20 to 25 services per
You're
month.
going to have to transfer money. I don't know if you have it.
20 to 25 services per month.
In a reactionary way.
$10,000 to $15,000.
I'm fully aware.
One of those, so which is coming out of the limit account, which we're gonna get to next. And
So this is.
we have a draft. We do have a matrix here. We have I know
this program.
we have a matrix of, if someone's got a leak, we can show you what that matrix looks like. We have a draft guideline, let's call it that, for the roll program. that we've been working towards. There are always extraordinary situations like this one, you know, where it first came to me, it was like, hey, you know, this person wants us put in there, Mike knew about the situation, taking it right over there. It was not what she's portraying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, so this, to me, role program is not, that's separate. What I am talking about now that we don't have our arms around, it seems to me, is the LCRI mandate.
The final piece.
Will be a mandate of the federal government. It's an unfunded mandate. It's ridiculous. It's not going to move the needle of public health and safety. I think we all are aware of that, but we're gonna have to do this, very likely, unless Charlie organizes a class action lawsuit or something against, hopefully, because that's the only way for that to stop. And I think we thought that this, the White House now might do that, but we saw what he did the other day. So this is just, it's a significant cost. I mean, and most utilities are bearing the cost of it. Most utilities are paying for the replacement.
Because we've got a lot to do.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just something that.
No, because I want to get to the,
Do you have a question?
So Bill, before you go, I would, to close this, there is a plan that's in the works. There is a financial analysis that's in the works that you should be calling for as a board, so we can prepare for
Yeah.
this moving forward. And so there's a lot, not right now, but there's a whole lot there.
Yeah, separate.
Turn it up. I can.
Sorry.
I was trying to keep it going because I know people.
Yeah, you want me to turn up the?
Leave. All right, so board, can we move on to item number 10? Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir. David Hill, Veolia Water. If you could you pull up page 12 of the board report, please? Currently, we have a limited account summary and board report every month that's provided, to illustrate where we're at on funding. At the end of this month, we've exceeded our 80% and there's two different accounts. That's a high priority, repairing lead service account. Allocations 587. We're 501 right now. The specialty preventive maintenance allocation of 143, 173, and our invoices are 136, so 95% there. We've met with Mr. Merlot, GHD, and have put together some numbers that we're going to ask the board to support and increase these. Before you should ask two different pieces of paper. One of them is the specialty preventive maintenance limit account. It currently is funded at $143,173. There are many projects going on associated with this account. Take a look at the bullets below. I won't get into all of them, but we're going to need an increase. We're asking for this increase to be 500,000. That's going to bring the total allocation 643, 173, and 32 cents. Specialty limit account.
Change that, right?
This is good. This is per my recommendation.
Go back to, was 643 what, David?
Oh, 643, 173, and 32 cents.
It's the, yeah, you said that, so we get some
32 cents?
Yes.
Change it to 950.
And board, I just wanted everyone to know what these numbers represent from a contractual standpoint. The contract has amounts in there to lock in the limit accounts. We all knew for many years that we were going to increase these as needed, and it was never funded properly for contract execution in the beginning. That's its own story, which we can go into at any time, right, Stephen? So what we've done is we budget these. We have history here. We have a healthy budget for these limit accounts. And what I'm working with David is to give you board as much time. Specialty maintenance is not going to be an issue. You will be able to maintain the allocation for the budget. Specialty maintenance is really for pump mains and electrical for high voltage plant. And we have a budget of 1 million in addition. So I'm asking, I told Veolia, don't ask for the full budget allocation, come for 50%. So they're gonna ask you for 500,000, and then when they use that, they're gonna have to come and ask you again. Now, if that 50% budget allocation gets used up, fewer than 50% of the months in that calendar year, we may have a concern. Well, then, board, you can start asking questions. So that gives you a control. That's 50%. That lets Veolia do their thing. So that's gonna be here. You're gonna talk about, it's gonna be more of a volatile issue for the distribution and roll program. It's in the subsequent approval. And that's millions of dollars. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the specialty maintenance, I'm very confident in. This is again, money in the budget. We work with Lisa and Bill. We have those funds secured. This is a part of that. So again, this is just an authorization so they can go ahead. This money doesn't get used up. So after they do the work, they pay it. And we oversee that like typical, I work with GHD, so we're overseeing construction fees. So that's what it comes down to the back end. So we have to make sure the budget is there. And I'm telling you, for this, it is. For both of these, it is. But I'll let you talk about distribution.
Okay.
That's, if there's any.
No, thank you, Peter.
Your question, Bill, are we having separate approval
Yeah.
for each one? Okay, so why don't we finish the maintenance?
Again, I believe that concludes our discussion. So on the specialty maintenance, asking for an increase to 500.
Then on the, high priority. Yeah, we'll go back.
All right. On high priority repair, that's again, our the main repairs, emergency service line repairs and road. I mean, we get emergency repairs too. You know, that happens also. So, currently this account's funded at $587,892.72. We're taking a look, working with Peter, and we want to request $2 million and bring the total allocation to $2,587,892.72.
Board, is there any question regarding the limit accounts and the increases that are being requested? There will be additional increases throughout the year as we expend these incremental increases.
These are incremental increases, but we're gonna work with Peter and GHD and on a monthly basis, we're gonna be screwing up our financials, so.
If we come back and you see distribution and we're coming back for more money as a group in 3 months, that means you went through 50% of your budget in 3 months. What I'm trying to give you is, I believe that I'm not sure the budget allocation is going to be significant enough to handle both the road program as it currently state and the mains that happen and break at any time. So we're just trying to make sure we don't want to be in a situation where we were last year. We want to see it. But and this procedure, I believe, guarantees that.
Okay. Is there a motion to increase the specialty preventative maintenance limit account by $500,000? A new allocation to $643,173.27. There a motion?
Billman will make the motion.
Second. Been properly moved and second. All in favor?
Billman, aye.
Henley, aye.
Sunderland, aye.
Cool, Dad.
Okay, thank you. The second limit account, that the high priority repairs and lead service lines for calendar year 16, for an increase of $2 million to a total of $2,587,892.72. Is there a motion to approve?
Billman will make the motion.
Been properly moved in second. Hearing no other questions, all in favor?
Billman, aye.
Henley, aye. Sunderland, aye.
Cool, Dad.
All right, we're going to move now back up the agenda to item number 6, the Enhanced Revenue Collection Action Group.
I'll take that. So This is because of this, what we just went through, the budget shortfalls. And to me, it's all about collection rate. There's too many customers that aren't paying for the service they're providing. And it's significant. I mean, Stephen, what was it for 300 days? I'm talking 11,
Yeah, 11, 12.
12 million. The last 300 days that were in arrears. 6 of that is sewer, correct? Yeah, but that's just unsustainable. You're patching holes all the time, you know, it's just, so we have to now just really start to look at, and the mayor is doing this across the board. Because now in-rem is back, it's gonna be back in 26. So water, sewer, user fee, those are gonna go on taxes. So to begin procedures, you know, should, you know, we don't want to own people's houses. We don't want to shut off people's water, but people, I mean, they have to start paying for the service they're provided. So this working group, this action group is to look at all those, to dive into what the arrears are. There's several bigger organizations. BMHA owes about $900,000. You know, there's some big ticket items that we think we can hopefully get in the door quickly. But we also have to scrub, you know, the ratepayer, the customer side. Stephen's, you know, been running some data. Some of these go back 15 years. We're obviously not going to go back 15 years to collect, you know, water fees from customers, but we do have to have some, you know, cutoff. I'm not sure if it's going to be 18 months, 2 years, what have you. The board will decide that, but this group is to come back to the board with recommendations as to how we pursue collecting and getting the revenue for the services provided. A lot of assistance programs that the water board has in existence. See the numbers, I mean, that release 15 million went to assistance, you know, from the water board. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of assistance.
Let's just have a question. Could we bridge that gap with this one after these? Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
$9 million there.
Yeah,
Where we vote on this increase.
but we're not voting on the increase today, the rate increase. Hopefully, I mean, it's what did you say, Stephen, about $1 million? Or no, 600,000 is about 1% on the rate increase. So based on, you know, what we get in the door pretty quickly, who knows? But I think we have to project a little bit of that too, potentially, to mitigate some of that rate increase. But that's Stephen's sure getting a little nervous of me saying that, but, you know.
Well, let's just address Tim's question if I may. So, the problem with the collection process, as any other collection, it just takes time.
Yeah.
And, the board has been in the past had policies to have a moratoriums on turnoffs, shutoffs. That grew out of the pandemic period where the administration at the time basically did not want to risk anybody being shut off. Then in addition, the state of New York, through the Department of Public Service, came out with an outright ban on any shutoffs of water all across the state of New York. So regardless of what the water board wanted to do or not, state public service said, no, you can't do that. So all of that has expired. And we had resolutions by this water board over time that tried to accommodate people. And there was, prior mayor had an amnesty program to allow for people to waive late charges, interest penalties, turn on, turn off fees, the whole bunch of a range of fees that are in the schedule. And so that was basically to help people in hardship situations.
So were those covered by rescue funds? Or anything that was provided from the government?
The plan was that they would be. Whether that actually happened, I cannot attest. But that
It's a
was,
gray area.
that was,
That's kind of my question. Is like, are we being financially responsible here with an increase that I think is excessive, to be honest? with you?
It is. And to be honest,
That's my opinion.
Tim, this is catch up. This is catch up for a lot of years of a different administration and different policies. And part of that was because of the pandemic, but
But even Brian, even before that, there was, and Stephen had shown that graph, there was a number of years prior to the pandemic, we did not do any increases part of it was because we had very healthy reserves at the time, and the controller's office is saying, spend down your reserves, so we did as our pay-as-go for our capital in many years. And I can bet it's probably 8 years, we did no water rate
12
increase. What was it that long?
That's way too long.
I'm saying, but so yes, we are.
It's like we did 15 years of no property tax
Well,
increases.
right, the same thing, or no reassessment of taxes. So we are playing catch up here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that we were being irresponsible.
Oh, no.
No,
No, I'm
but-
not saying that. I'm just struggling with it. a
He's
little.
trying to, the percentage of the rate increase that.
No, I understand, but I think the history needs to be stated is that we are playing a lot of catch up.
Right.
And it,
And as far as I'm concerned, there should never be a zero. Ever,
I agree.
Yeah, for
every year.
clarity, we have two separate items,
Right.
okay? One is this policy resolution here that you want to basically reinstate the shut-off program. You're looking to allow that ordinary course of regulatory structure to move forward. That's there. So if somebody hasn't paid, then there is a process where the good folks who work with the water board go forward, they send out notices, you are in arrears, and it's not just interest. We are going to give you a notice that you might be shut off.
And this working group will help identify what those
So,
criteria are.
but wait, separately is to establish a working group that will set up policies going forward. But as of today, if you agree with this resolution, you will reinstate shutoffs like tomorrow. So the people who work for the city that collect their data, they have a list of accounts that are in arrears.
Mhm.
They would be in a position to start sending out notices.
And if I could just segue one moment on that, there's gonna be ample notification, to ratepayers, to customers. No one's getting shut off tomorrow. They are gonna be notified based on how far we go back. This is your arrears. You have X, amount of days to contact the water board, pay it, set up a payment plan, or shut off procedures will commence.
So right now, you get a bill. It's a quarterly bill, and you have basically the 90 days to pay that bill. David, you have better information, but there is interest that runs if you don't pay it by that 90th day, so that gets added on. And the only thing that happens after that is you get another bill that says you owe 2 quarters plus the interest.
So I did an experiment,
But
unfortunately.
you don't have to compare.
Okay.
But nobody's coming to
Didn't
you
get anything.
and saying you're in danger of shut off. So, but there are notification processes. The board previously worked with Veolia and established a procedural handbook that Veolia uses that basically lays out the schedule and provides for an aggressive collection program. It's there. So this is not reinventing something. It's all there. It's just a matter of reinstating that going forward. That's what this resolution does in part. Part two is to establish this working group to go forward and plan better how to address this in the future.
So I would like clarification. Are you saying right up until today, we do not shut anybody off?
That's my
Haven't
understanding.
in years.
That's number one. Okay, so up until today, we do not shut anybody off, no matter what,
We're not paying for
for non-payment. Okay, even though that's been rescinded after COVID and stuff.
It really never got
It
rescinded.
never really got
That's
rescinded.
why this is coming to you now.
Okay, and then my other question is it's all well and good that we have, the payment plans, and I'm for that, especially for those who are, right, hurting. But I also know for a fact that there are people who are on the payment plans that aren't keeping up with the payment plan. So why are we doing payment plans if they're not adhering to it and yet they're still behind? And now we're in this situation where we're looking for the money, right?
Now we have the
So-
teeth.
Right, I get that. Now we will,
Right.
but in retrospect, I mean,
When we came in there, we did the arrears, we had it on that screen right there. And it was unbelievable. It wasn't just people with hardship.
right,
There was a
that's what
surgeon
I'm
from
saying.
ECNC on there with $14,000.
Well,
It's
exactly.
unacceptable.
And that's the other thing is what I don't understand is how are we investigating that you're a hardship? Because if you're a surgeon and you're on that list for $14,000 of just back water bill, no, I'm sorry, that's unacceptable to put him even on a payment plan.
And he wasn't.
Sometimes-
That was just an identified
But
arrears.
just saying, if it was the case, I guess my question is how are we identifying those who really truly need this payment plan versus those who really don't, but they're on it and yet they're still not paying? So I kind of have an issue with that a little bit because I know if I needed to go on it there's no way you're gonna put me on it. You
If
know
I,
what I'm saying?
if
No,
I
my
may,
hardship
yeah.
isn't
no,
what you're considering. So I guess we need to look at that.
as Mary Popkins once said, there's a change in the wind. So
Just asking.
the prior administration was not interested in doing
Right.
all those things. So if that is your will, that's where we're gonna go. It just becomes, now this policy would allow for all of those enforcement activities to go forward. For example, there were no enforcement of, liens for unpaid water charges, zero. But there is a definite mechanism that allows that to happen. We discussed this in part before, that a list is developed. It's given to the assessor's office, that is put on to the water bill. But in terms of timing, that would not, if a list was prepared now, it would go as of December 1 and given to the assessor. That would not appear on the tax bills until July 1 of 2026. So that is one mechanism. The other significant mechanism is to tell people you are in arrears, either pay up or establish a payment plan that you will abide by. And if you don't, then we will turn you off.
It just so, just some further education. I mean, this was part of a state law that was passed in like 2018, that allowed municipalities to put sewer, water user on the tax rolls in order to be able to collect them. No, but when it's, the city just didn't do it.
I just wanna, oh, go ahead.
How do you get past public service with the?
That's done. That's
That-
all,
yeah,
that
that's a third.
expired in 2022.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, with the turnoff program, you're gonna incur more roll program line replacements because there'll be failures due to us going in and turning them on and off. That's all not a problem. Part of the program is in good standing as far as the water bill goes. So now we turn somebody off for non-payment because they owe $4,000 and their service fails. They go down and they pay $250 to get their water back on, but now I have to put a $12,000 water service in.
Why, you're saying, you shut off at the valve, the lines are gonna pop?
There, not a lot, but there's failures. I mean, it's lead or any,
Could be something you can't even turn off either, right?
could be something we can't turn off. We used to dig a lot of these, terminate them, notify them to get a plumber after they pay it. So there needs to be a large discussion based on how this program's gonna move.
That's
Because
an
there's a lot
excellent.
of moving
Right.
parts.
Wouldn't that be under the roll policy that's coming?
Well, but in the interest of time, okay, the task group is
We'll
being.
take that risk, I
formulated,
think.
And
because
that
It's
could
our
be
only
part of it, right?
mechanism.
Oh, no, you
Yeah.
gotta take the risk. I mean, without a doubt, we need not.
But what I'm saying is the role program could be considered by the task group as part of your
Right,
overall
sure,
plan.
yeah,
Okay,
right.
so you can,
Yeah, I mean, I think
Are we coming? For a policy.
So we have guidelines.
We've never had anything come from the board. We would love a board.
I understand.
Right,
That's
so
what I'm.
we had a flow chart of how programs work. We have a set of draft guidelines that the board can review and we can tweak them or whatever. We can tweak them and then, but you know, some of them are like, you gotta be in good standing. You gotta be in good standing.
So criteria to
Be
qualify.
and taxes, housing, you know, housing violations, you know,
Right.
you're not gonna sit there and put money into something that's gonna be some out. You know, it's just like there's a bunch of constraints.
Criteria kind of set up,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, so we've got a good, Dave, I think you have a good draft starting point.
I
You can
tried.
Circulate that to the board for review at either the next meeting or the meeting after, because we do have a lot on our plate right now.
Yeah.
And we can solidify that, but, so before us is the resolution. So Charlie, hopefully that I summarize this correctly, is that the board, is going to determine that we are going to be the lead agency in developing a plan to collect rates, fees, and charges that are in arrears. One, that the board rescind all prior resolutions and plans that authorizes the moratorium to prevent turnoffs. And that the chair, is hereby appointed to lead this task group, action group.
That-
So, is there any more questions for the board regarding this resolution right here? I'm just trying to keep it back on, get on some here. Because people are gonna, all right, is there a motion to approve this resolution for the enhanced revenue plan collections?
Bill, make a motion.
At least second.
So it's been properly moved in second. Hearing no other questions, all in favor?
Lombardo, aye.
Sunderland, aye.
Gould, aye.
All right, thank you, Blake. All right, we're going to move now. We're gonna move now to item number 7, which is the proposal of schedule rates and charges. Who wants to lead this one?
All right, let me begin, okay? Just so, well, I don't mean to Stephen's presentation, but there is a resolution that is available here with regard to scheduling. I'm sorry, I thought I had it. Yeah, no, I've got it there. Thank you. So the resolution that's before you is discussing the new schedule of rates and charges, but it does not today approve the schedule. It is merely calling for a public hearing at your next board meeting, September 10, and allows for publication of a notice to invite the public to come and speak. This notice will go to the Common Council. It'll go to other folks, the Buffalo Fiscal Stability Authority and others in the community that will know that this is being contemplated. And obviously it could become a news media question about what's going on. And so we are calling for the hearing to occur here. That would be also by remote for those that want to participate that way. The board is contemplating a schedule, and the other component here, just so it's clear, is that under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, we are identifying that this is an unlisted action, and the water board would become the lead agency. We'll send out notice to that effect to the State Department of Environmental Conservation and others. I don't anticipate anybody out there wanting to take over that role. And so this would basically set the stage for you to consider in greater detail the actual proposal of the schedule of rates. And it's really all that we're at this point, but I defer to Stephen.
So I think Charlie, you covered the basic requirements. There are a couple other things for your consideration. Hearing some concern about the magnitude of this. I think we all share that concern. However, you have certain obligations that are set forth in your bond covenants that you need to generate a certain amount of revenue every year to meet those covenants. And right now, based on the current billings and collections, you're forecasted to fall short of those required revenues by a significant amount. Okay. Second, we are contemplating that this rate restructuring and adjustment would take effect on October 1st. Okay, which you're not approving today, but that's the contemplated timing. And what that means is that you're only able to receive revenues over 3/4 of the year at that new rate to achieve the required revenues. And in addition, because you bill in arrears, you're actually only likely to see about 7.5 months of revenue in this current fiscal year at the new rate. And in part, that's why the impact is larger than it would have been if it had taken effect July 1st. But given the transition at the board, given all of the other things that were happening, you didn't consider this back in probably April, which you would have had to in order for it to take effect July 1st. So the timing is not optimal for sure in that sense. However, to quantify what's in front of you is a schedule of rates that is estimated to increase by 7.5% with a new infrastructure fee of $5 per month for a typical single-family home. What this equates to for the typical customer, which is, most often what people are concerned about. This based on a 5/8 inch meter, which is your most common customer, and the average single-family home usage. Collectively, this equates to about $8 a month of an increase, okay? However, very importantly, your affordability program credits have also been increased in this rate proposal such that your low-income households that are enrolled in your affordability program, the net impact to them would be about $4 per month. Okay, so for the typical single-family home with a 5/8 inch meter, the monthly increase would be about $8 a month. For those enrolled in your affordability program, the monthly impact would be about $4 per month. Okay, and that would be split between a rate increase and a new capital infrastructure fee. As you know, you're facing, as we talked about, a significant financial mandate and liability for lead service line replacements, which is going to put tremendous pressure on your capital planning. Also, not to mention the capital plan that you have already approved, which was excess of $80 million. And for the next few years, there are more large reinvestments that are needed. So a capital infrastructure fee would go towards funding these types of investments. You're putting it right back in the system. One other thought that came up today, I think in part why Brian, the board member, is advancing this revenue enhancement action group or task group, is that collections have declined. Many customers are not paying. And there is potential to improve collections by way of some of the actions that you started today by, passing the first resolution. You have 1 month until the public hearing. And at that public hearing, you'll be asked, or after that, you may consider adopting. That would be the, understanding here. However, if there is significant movement on collections in the next 30 days, which is unlikely, you could consider a modified adjustment. However, I will kick it to Lisa Foti, who is your financial rate consultant. I'm your engineering consultant. You must make sure that you meet your bond covenant, and that if you plan to sell bonds in the late fall, early winter, which is the plan right now to finance your investments, you need to go to the market with a kind of feasible financial plan. And you can't be forecasting deficits and the inability to meet your covenants. So Lisa, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just say that our reserves are at a historical all-time low at about $10 million. And it will be difficult to go to the market without a rate action and a plan to replenish those reserves to levels that will allow us to maintain the bond rating that we currently have. We're making the required investments in the system, and that's great. But typically, Wall Street likes to see those reserve levels between the $20 and $25 million range. And again, we've depleted those reserves over the last several years, down to $10 million. And I know the comptroller's on, and I don't know, Bill, if you want to add anything to that. The budget process was difficult this year because we put an assumed rate increase in there in contemplation of this. And the later we wait, the less revenue we'll have an opportunity to collect in this fiscal year, and the higher that rate has to be to make that difference up. But I don't know, Bill, if you want to add anything to this. Time is really of the essence, especially if we're going to the market, and what we had planned on is November.
Yes, hi, Bill Ferguson, City Accountant. I wholeheartedly agree with Lisa on that. The budget was quite difficult. We were contemplating a 6% rate increase effective July 1st, or actually, it would have been a 6% annual one. As we pointed out when the budget was presented, is that the longer we wait, the higher that 6% needed to be. But all in all, we need an additional revenue of cash collected of around $5.6 million over historical. And the necessary, either the rate increase or the infrastructure charge need to equal that amount in order for us to be in compliance with the covenants.
Lisa,
Yes.
this is Bill Hanley. We had a brief conversation by email before. A $68 million budget, what's adequate reserve is about 14%, correct?
An adequate reserve, they like to see about 6 months worth of 4 to 6 months worth of operating expenses in a reserves to consider the system healthy, right? That's always the benchmark that we're given.
Okay, what number does that put us at? Because if 14% a healthy reserve would be $9.5 million.
No, that number is between 20 and 25 million.
At 14 number. So you're saying healthy reserve is about 20 million?
A healthy reserve is between 20 and 24 million, yes.
At one time, we were holding reserves into the high 30s.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was roughly about a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, and that was problematic when they were that high, right? Because we would go to the market, and the question from the comptroller's office at the time would always be, what are you doing to spend down the reserves? You're raising rates, why are you not using that for debt service or capital improvements? So there was a concerted plan to spend those monies down, but never to this level.
Correct.
And I think the reason why our ratings are the way they are, because we always had a very healthy infrastructure and a healthy reserves. And I guess I would caution about getting too low with any of those two.
Well, that's where I'm at, $25 million. Are we overcharging our ratepayers, or is that the healthy reserve? I'm struggling with the
Bill,
be healthy.
to kind of maybe bring clarity, simple. Yeah, so your operating expenses are around 45 million. 6 months of that is 22.5 million. Okay, just
Right,
very simple.
Yeah.
right.
I don't know how I missed that one.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so can we move back to the resolution for scheduling the public hearing? Consider the rates, like I said, we're not voting on the rates today, we're just looking for the public hearing to September 10th. I think we've explained what the time constraints are and that we need to do this then to at least make this effective for 3/4 of the year. So the resolution determines that the board will be serving the agency. Board schedule the public hearing to take place Wednesday, September 10th at 9 a.m. Copy of this room here. And the secretary of the board or any other person from the board may designate guys to publish the notice of the public hearing. Charlie, I state that.
That's it.
Thank you. Right. So is there a motion to approve the resolution for the public hearing?
Yeah, let me make a motion to approve the resolution for the public hearing.
Lombardo, second.
It's been properly moved in second. Hearing no other questions, all in favor?
And
Lombardo.
Sunderland and
Rule day.
right, thank you, guys. So we're gonna move on to the GHD Consulting Monthly Report.
Yeah, so I'll keep it very short in the interest of time, and I think we have a executive session. As many of you know, I've been coordinating with you in different forms, with the rate consultant, with our legal team, with Veolia on a number of these issues, and we will continue to support in that sense. I will use this opportunity to offer to continue to meet with you independently if you have concerns or you want to know more. So there was a lot of discussion today about the current financial challenges. You may want to understand how we got there and what policies and practices. I'd be happy to try to spend more time to give you a foundation so that you feel confident moving forward. We also are monitoring the settlement for PFAS, which will probably is discussed as a contractual matter later. And so that I'll stop there. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to take it. Normally, Dustin and our team gives some response or report for capital, but we'll skip that today. Things are moving forward, so.
So the public hearing gets the next, will we meet, the board meets that day as well? Yeah, so,
It's right in the middle of the meeting.
right, yeah, so we requested to vote on this at that.
Yes.
Right.
That is the concept.
Right, so to your point, in between, I think some members have asked you to try to take a pencil out again, and we got some things that we're going to be pursuing, obviously, and we'll be meeting prior to that hearing. So will there be opportunity if that adjust, not higher or lower, that we can sit with you, and I know the
Yeah, I would suggest that
law and stuff like that. So
that we, Lisa, I would be happy to participate and, we can set up other meetings in the course of the next month to really wrangle through some of these issues and concerns. I'd be happy to try to do that.
Right.
Lisa Fody, she's the one on the line.
Okay, sorry.
Let's be clear, though, by scheduling the public hearing, the notice will indicate that the public is invited to look at the schedule as currently proposed. So people could call Peter Merlo as secretary to see the schedule. And our friends in the news media could inquire what's going on, what is the amount, and again, it's a proposal at this stage.
So the notice does not include the schedule?
The notice invites the public to look at the schedule, contacting Peter Merlo, but frankly, in the past, it has been published in the website so that it's available and given to the city clerk as part of the city record. So it would be something the common council would see. But again, the common council does not approve or disapprove the schedule. That is solely within your jurisdiction.
Yep. Thank you.
Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir. David Hill, Veolia Water. I'll be brief. In the packet today, there's the top 30 customers, which typically the board's interested in seeing who those folks are. So if you didn't get a copy, there is one down here for you. Good information. Switching gears to the plant. We're nearly through the basins. Yes, sir.
So I'll like top 30 customers. Do all these folks pay their obligations on?
I need to check on that.
Okay. And it's like, again, I'm looking at, obviously, I know the MHA has not. I'm wondering about Buffalo schools, places like that on the public side.
We have that challenge.
Right.
So, Brian, some of that may be the low hanging fruit that
Right.
you're talking about,
Right.
is action fruit. Is that, okay, if we now move the resolution forward, moratorium is now.
Yes,
doesn't
right.
get- These may be really quick ones that we can do that can possibly affect the rate.
Right. But historically, it's like schools have paid, like they're a customer.
Yeah.
So David, can you take that list? Brian's just looking at, take that list and give a rears.
Yes,
Okay.
Certainly.
Can we get that today?
yes,
Okay.
I'll get that out today.
Because these aren't individuals.
Yeah.
These are not.
We put that out last night, on that Buffalo Grand Hotel.
We'll go ahead and hit the top 50 on it.
That's fine. That's great. Thank you.
All right. Just lastly, I want to say thanks to Mike and, you know, when we look at safety. Mike has elevated his, authority to command safety basically in his areas. And I just want to focus on the vehicle. There's zero accidents. Not the first time. It's many times. And, no. No, I mean, you look historically, this is a big deal.
Is he blushing?
Yeah.
No, it's a real big deal. I mean, when you're out there driving these rigs around town, coming in contact with the public, normally the public loses, or we lose because we gotta pay for it out of our pocket. I mean, we do training every year. We have people, you know, educators come in and do the defensive driving training every other year. Accidents come down tremendously. I was say.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah. Can I just ask one question just for my education? Brakes, are they all by contractors or do actual employees of Buffalo Water Board go and repair?
It's both. So anything that happens during the day, if we have enough people on staff to do the work, we will fix the brakes, we repair or do all maintenance.
Okay.
If there's too many breaks going on, like we had 11 the other day, we're bringing in contractors to assist. Anything past 6 o'clock at night, it's always contractors. Our staff does not respond.
Okay.
They're asked first, but they're not
Right.
responsive.
Then I'll do a follow-up question. Sorry, Bill. The Caulker title,
Yes.
is that why we don't have enough to go that aren't servicing brakes or line maintenance? Because we have a lot of vacancies in that title.
It doesn't help, but I think even if we were full staff there, you would still be paying the same amount of contractors. I think it's more of our collective bargaining agreement with them that doesn't really hold them accountable to return and, you know,
Right, after
we're
6.
paying for equipment to sit in the garage while we're paying a contractor to use theirs. So I think we're getting double whammied. You know, we do need them a lot of the time
Appreciate it.
because there's too much,
I'd
but
love to have a combo with you.
I love it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you.
Just lastly, from a workforce development perspective, been working with Mr. Patrick Thornton, and we're entertaining the idea of those interested that are holding MHW titles, if they wish to be trained on plant operations. We're going to afford them the opportunity to do that and pursue the licensing. And in that way, we have the ability to use our maintenance force to substitute operations.
I was just going that, we had an issue. You got to supply a licensed engineer or something at the plant, correct?
Correct. That's it. Thank you, sir.
All right, board, we're going to go into executive session. Charlie's got some.
Should do a motion.
matters. So we're gonna dismiss everybody else. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Litigation matters.
Lombardo makes the motion to go in.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Hearing no other questions, all in favor?
Part of why.
So we will, when we come out of executive session, we will have to come out of the general meeting also, so we'll make a motion. But thank you for everybody else for attending.
Oh, I know you are.
Your city, your.
Well, no one.